Hello and welcome to another session, another week of English 103, Section 5005 with me, Mr. Fowler. I hope things are going well for you this week. As you know, by the time this video has been posted, it's revision week. So there isn't a whole else lot left for us to talk about in terms of the class structure and new information. So let's go check out our course homepage, read through the announcements. I'll share a little bit with you and then we'll move ahead. All right. So let's see here, share screen, homepage. Up here in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. And as you can see, like I said, it's revision week. So that means the final draft of your argumentative essay is due on Friday, May 14th, just before midnight. I've received 3 already at the start of this week. I'm recording this at 11 o'clock on Monday. So I've already received 3 drafts. So that's wonderful. Okay. I'm very happy that I've already received that many. In fact, I might have received one in between when I started this video and when I'm looking at it now. However, real quick reminder, because it's revision week, that means that you should have completed your peer review. So if you have not yet completed your peer review, and I know there are a few of you out there who have yet to complete one, try to prioritize that for the first part of the week so that we can get those points added to your overall grade score and we can get that information out there and calculated before we forget about it or before it gets too far away. Just as a point of review, remember that, again, the argumentative essay is due on the 14th. That's this Friday by 11:59 p.m. Okay, 100 points. So we're talking 50 for the final draft. All right, which is 25% of your overall grade. It should be about 1,250 words or 5 pages, thereabouts. Typical format, we've already talked about that. Okay, so that's just a review for the argument project. We'll go back to our homepage for a minute. Like I said, if you have not yet completed that peer review, try to get that into me soon so that I can help facilitate the peer review process. You should have my peer review and you should have the peer review from a fellow student so that you can revise based on that, those parameters and have that opportunity. So this entire week is just for revision. Okay. And that means that next week is finals week. All right. So for finals week, you have one additional assignment to complete, which is sort of a overview of your experience in this class over the course of the semester. 17 weeks, 16 if you don't count spring break, which is why the numbering is a little odd. Traditionally, a semester is about 16 weeks. So I think I counted the week that we were on spring break. So that's why it's week 17. So let's take a look at what the grade justification letter looks like as an assignment. And then we'll look at one example from a fellow student. Okay. So I'm going to share a screen again here. This time we're going to be looking at the grade justification letter. Okay, so this one, again, grade justification letter, a much smaller percentage, just 7% of the overall grade for your course assessment. Now this, notice, I'm going to give you until Tuesday of next week. Now, we really do have a full week. So if there's an emergency situation or you have to take a final exam that, I don't know, for some reason would run into this time frame, you know, reach out to me so that I can be aware of what's going on. But realistically, getting these done by the end of the day on Tuesday of next week will help you and will help me, because I'll be able to process your grades that much more quickly and get things posted so that you know where you stand here at the end of the semester. Okay. 25 points. Okay. It says 6, but it should be 7. I made a little typo there. Oops. 7% of your overall grade. And about 300 words or more, you can go a little bit over, which is equivalent to about 1 page. Okay. I think 250 words is the typical Microsoft Word document, single page estimate. So at 300 words or more, it's about a page, but not quite just a page. Might trickle over a little bit into a second page. The format is a typical format that we've observed all semester long. Okay, no problems with that. So what are you going to do again? Just as a reminder. First, you're going to describe how you earned the grade that you did in the course so far, along with some reasons why you earned the grade. And then summarize your grades on the 3 main essays: the self-assessment, the analysis, and the argumentative. Second, address some of the ideas you brought up in the self-assessment essay. What challenges did you actually face over the course of the semester? And were they the challenges that you assumed would be difficult this semester in this course? Were the strategies that you used to approach these challenges effective, yes or no? And then were there any parts of the class that were particularly interesting or surprising? What parts happened pretty much as you thought they would in regular English class? Again, the purpose of the essay is to allow you to see the big picture of all the hard work you've involved yourself in all semester long, and apply the skills and concepts that you've mastered to the next step of your academic journey. Okay, that's a brief reminder. Okay. So if we go back to the home page, we've gone ahead. Yeah, we talked about revision week. We reviewed the dates and parameters for the final draft of the argument. We talked about the grade justification letter. And let's look at the sample before I go ahead and have a little spiel about final thoughts for this semester. Okay. So let's go ahead and stop share here and share the example. All right, make this a little bit larger for us. So again, I've allowed the student to have their anonymity, but this is a student who took the summer course this past summer. And you can see it's July 31st when we wrap that particular session up. And she starts, as you should start a letter, with an introductory hook or addressee line: "Dear colleagues." Now, technically, if we're talking about a letter might, in your mind, look like this, right? It might have all of these paragraphs started in a block system. And then she's got the "Sincerely, she's got the signature here, signature line, the sign off, the salutation, so on and so forth. Either way is okay with me. You can indent your paragraphs if you want to do so. Okay. That's okay with me. But technically, if you're thinking about the way a letter should be formatted, they usually have block design. Okay. So let's make sure that she answers the 2 questions: why she got the grade that she did, and what challenges she thought she might face over the course of the semester based on her self-assessment essay. So she's got the date, she's got all of the 4-line materials, she's got the class number. Remember, you don't have to have my name. I'm not necessarily needed as an addressee here. If you want to put my name instead of dear colleagues, you could put dear Mr. Fowler. That would work. But you don't need my name up here. So you've just got the 4-line letter here, your name, the name of the class, the name of the assignment, grade justification letter, and then the date that you'd submitted. You should try to remember to have this, this letter up here, this number in the upper right-hand corner, if you can remember that. It's not a game changer if you forget it. That happens. Okay, let's get into the substance here. There are a few reasons why I feel I received my grade in English 103 this year. Okay. As the semester went on, I feel I improved my work. That's great. I think I got better as the papers progressed, and it showed on my work. But I know I still struggle with a few things that need more attention to be the best at English. Fair enough. Got a nice introductory paragraph sort of summarizing everything that the writer wants to say in that first few sentences. But she goes on to elaborate with some of the specific details I referred to in the assignment description. I believe I earned my grade in this English class from the hard work I put in this year. I also know I earned this grade due to some of the work I missed out on. Okay, that's a good point. Sometimes students neglect things here or there, or they forget, or circumstances beyond their control crop up in ways that they couldn't expect. That happens. I know through the papers I wrote, I learned to improve on each one. I could see that the quality of the essays was improving with time, and I was trying to make them easier to read. I know I struggled on the last 2 a lot more in terms of trying to meet the word count. That's tough. And trying to make an essay that was both articulate enough to meet Mr. Fowler's standards and still logical enough to follow. Interesting. So not quite sure how to take that. You know, the standards that I impose on students are departmental standards. So, you know, they're not really my specific standards. Still, I kind of see what she's driving at. I think she means to say that she wanted them to be logical and not just longer, not filled with unnecessary fodder. Outside of my grammar, I learned to write some very decent essays. Okay. I would have liked her ideally to have focused a sentence each, like on the individual essays. So like I did really well in a self-assessment essay, but I struggled in the analysis and on the argumentative essay to come up with enough adequate source material to address the concerns of the writer or of the reader rather. And then for the analysis essay, it was difficult to find good source material on, you know, a video game that I picked out at random to, you know, and use for my analysis essay, something like that. That would have been a little bit more precise, but you know, it is what it is. I know I hit a few different problems I addressed in my self-assessment essay. This is good. So round to the second part now. Specifically, the quality and length of my essays was an issue I wanted to address this summer. I felt like I had to pad the length with a lot of cheap filler, which to me took away from the quality of the overall essay. That is tough. And it's an honest assessment, I think, of a student's writing. A lot of students have to do this. And Mr. Fowler, I was guilty of this myself from time to time when I was a student. So I can empathize with where they're coming from. However, I know my biggest hurdle I still trip over is my grammar. surprisingly, even with spell check, I still make a lot of mistakes when writing. That's something, the lifelong investment. You know, you have to continue to want to be successful with your grammar in order to keep all of those various rules refreshed in your mind. I know to help with my other problems, I learned to slow down and step away and then come back to reread my paper to see when I can improve rather than cram useless info into the essay. So that's a good suggestion. That's an idea about a strategy that she'd used to improve on her writing that was successful over the course of the semester. So that's good. That's key. Lastly, she says, as we both know, I took this class last year. So she had, this is her second time taking the course. So she had taken it previously, and thus she answers the question. There was nothing that was really a surprise to me. But she says, as the course went on, even with COVID-19 and it being online, it was just like being in the classroom again, just easier this time because, again, it was her second go round. In conclusion, I feel I earned a grade comparable for the work I did, both good and bad. I feel like I learned and improved on how to write essays and be a better storyteller. That's good. And I'm happy that this will be my last English class, even though I know my grammar still needs some work. I feel like I'm going to do great with the new techniques I learned this semester. Sincerely, she's a student. Now that's wonderful. That's a fantastic sign off there to sort of encapsulate one's entire experience over the course of the semester. So I feel that that was a really well done and solid essay response. You could do much worse than such a response for your own class discussions or class reflections, excuse me. So the class reflection is the final project for the semester. So once that's done, you're finished essentially with the course. I'll have a little bit of time next week. Obviously, this week I'll be grading any essays that come in early, and then this weekend I'll be grading the final drafts of the assessment. And then, like I said, hopefully by Tuesday, Wednesday, I'll have some grades ready for the grade justification essay. So the last thing I want to mention about this is that it's a one and done deal. You don't get peer review feedback. You only get one opportunity, and the grade I assign you out of the 25 points is the grade. So do take a little bit of time next week to sort of set enough time and solitude aside to really reflect on what you want to say. This is the last sort of opportunity that you have to reflect on your experience and sort of showcase how much you learned as a student and how much you've grown as a writer over the course of these 16 weeks. Okay, final thoughts on the class. Not much else for me to say. I love this class. I've been teaching Ready Player One for like 3 years now. I think it's probably time to put this text aside and move on to something a little bit different. So it's become antiquated. And I think this past fall, Ready Player 2 came out and its sequel. And I've toyed around with the idea of maybe teaching that in lieu of Ready Player One. But I don't really feel like it's lending itself to as sturdy of a class structure as Ready Player One. Got a lot of interesting ideas and concepts on it, so I'm not completely writing that off just yet. I am thinking about maybe switching out this text for something like, say, The Lovely Bones, or maybe even Silence of the Lambs, or something like that, which allows us to deal with a lot of other literary elements like true crime or sort of a fascination with morbid curiosity. If you have any feedback on that, I'd be welcome to hear it. You can just shoot me an email. It doesn't have to be a formal class like assignment or anything like that, but I would be interested in that. I think that overall, the essays and the writing this semester from all of you has been very excellent. And I think I've seen a lot of positive growth in terms of your ability to synthesize material a little bit more precisely. And I think I've seen some really excellent growth for the majority of students in terms of eliminating fragments. I don't see too many more fragments like I did at the beginning of the semester. And a lot of you have conquered the comma splice. Okay. There are still some of you who are making some basic comma errors, especially with prepositional phrases. And I know that that's something that's kind of tricky because so many introductory phrases that we use are also prepositions. So you just have to be conscientious of how you're using those phrases as you start a sentence. And one thing you can add into your repertoire and try to do is to start writing a sentence without any kind of introductory phrase to get more creative and add more verve and flexibility to your writing standards. I think that would help some of you a lot. The other thing I have recommended, a little bit of a broken record here, once you have completed an essay, whether it's from me or another instructor, please take the time to read it over at least once. And if you have time to read over twice, read it backwards, starting with the last sentence and then moving backward until you get back to the initial sentence. Because if the logic or the structure of the essay could make sense if you read it from the last sentence to the first, there's a good sign that you've done a nice job of organizing your thoughts in a way that the reader can follow and track as meaningful. So that's another idea that I like to hammer home here in the last couple of days. And, you know, just generally, I encourage students to keep up with your writing skills, because even after this class is a bad memory, hopefully not too bad, but it's in your rearview mirror, you may be surprised at how often you find yourself writing on the job or for real life. And that can be, like I said, sometimes an alarming or at least surprising development in the life and career of a student. So take some of these ideas in stride and really continue to cultivate that skill, because a good writer, a good communicator, is always a valued skill, or having those skills is always valuable and can make you a more invaluable employee or potential employee. Okay. I don't think I'm going to post another video during finals week because I've been watching the metrics on my YouTube channels and I don't have a whole lot of people watching anymore, which is fine. These videos are not here for you to watch all of the time or to drive your goals. They're here as an extra element added to the course and what I've been teaching. So keep in mind, no video last week. This is probably it. And if I don't get a chance to talk to you via email, let me be the first to wish you a wonderful summer if you're going to have a break. And if you're going to join us here at Kish for the summer session, I look forward to perhaps seeing you online and maybe even on campus next fall. Let's hope. So again, Mr. Fowler signing off for the last time. Eat well, drink well, get your vaccination, and my best to you all as we wrap up the semester. I hope things go well for you. Please don't ever be shy about reaching out. Until we meet again, friends, great journey.